Children, today's class we had to learn about the media or source of information books. Here is a poem on books. Let's read the poem. What worlds of wonder are our books? As one opens them and looks, new ideas and people rise in our fancies and our eyes. The room we sit in melts away, and we find ourselves at play with someone who, before the end, may become our chosen friend. Or we sail along the page to some other land or age. Here's our body in the chair, but our mind is over there. Each book is a magic box, which with a touch a child unlocks in between their outside covers. Books hold all things for the lovers. From this poem, we can understand the beauty of books. What worlds of wonder are our books? Our books are worlds wonder. As one opens them and looks, new ideas and people rise in our fancies and our eyes. When we read the books, new ideas from the book and new peoples rise in the eyes. The room we sit in melts away and we find ourselves at play with someone who before the end may become our chosen friend. From the room, we melt away, which means we enjoy by reading, and we find ourselves we are playing with someone who before the end may become our chosen friend. The characters from the book are our friends. We sail along the page or we read along the page to some other land or age. Here our body in the chair, but our mind is over there. When we read deeply the book, we can find out that our body is in the chair because we are reading in the chair, but our mind is over through the book or over through the lines. Each book is a magic box, which means in books lots of magics or lots of magical stories are there, which with a touch a child unlocks. When a child touch a book, it unlock all the magics. In between their outside covers, books hold all things for the lovers. From the outside cover of the book, it holds all things for the lovers. Children, we can see some of questions related to the poem. Let's find out the answers for that. Children, let's move on to the next topic. In the fast growing world, literacy is quite essential. But we know there are a lot of people who cannot even read and write. We must think of ways to help them. Here is a story that tells you about the importance of being literate. Polya. Polya was an illiterate woman. She could not even write her name. Polya's husband, however, was a responsible government official. He had once been a simple peasant. But 5 years in the city had taught him a lot. Not only how to write his name, but also how to be a successful officer. However, he was not very happy to have an illiterate wife. Polya, you ought to at least learn how to write your name, he used to say to his wife. My last name is an easy one. 2 syllables. Kuchkin. And still you can't write it. I wish you had learned. Polya used to wave it aside. There is no use in my trying to learn it now, Ivan. She would answer. I am getting old. My fingers are getting stiff. Why should I try to write now? Let the young ones learn how to read and write. Polya's husband was a terribly busy man and did not have the time to argue with his wife, so he kept his mouth shut. But one day, Ivan Nikolaevich Kuchkin did bring home a special little book. Here, Polya, he said, is the latest Teach Yourself Russian, which is based on up to date methods. I am going to show you how to use it. Polya gave a quiet laugh, took the book in her hands, turned it over, and hid it in the cupboard as if to say, let it be there. Maybe our grandchildren will have some use for it. One day, Polya sat down to work. She had to mend a jacket for Ivan. The sleeve was torn. So Polya sat down at the table, took up her needle, and put her hand under the jacket. She heard something rustling. Maybe there is money in there, Polya thought. She looked inside and found a letter. It was a nice, clean one with a neat handwriting. The paper smelled of perfume and it was in blue envelope. Polya became pale. Was Ivan in love with another woman? Was he exchanging love letters with well educated ladies and making fun of his poor illiterate wife? Polya looked at the envelope, took out the letter, and unfolded it. But since she was illiterate, how could she read it? For the first time in her life, Polya was sorry that she had not learned how to read and write. Even though it is somebody else's letter, she thought, I have got to know what is in it. Maybe it will change my whole life. Maybe Ivan loves another woman. Maybe I will have to go back to the country and work as a peasant. Polya started to cry and began thinking about how Ivan seemed to have changed lately. He seemed to be taking more care of his mustache and his clothes. Polya sat looking at the letter. She kept crying and sniffing, but she could not read it at all. To show it to someone else would be unthinkable. Polya hid the letter in her cupboard, finished sewing the jacket, and waited for Ivan to come home. When he returned, Polya did not let him know that anything had happened. On the contrary, in the calm and even voice, she told her husband that she had nothing against doing a little study, and that she was fed up with being an ignorant, illiterate peasant. Ivan Nikolaevich was overjoyed to hear it. That's just fine, he said. I myself will teach you how to read and write.